Hey everyone, and welcome back or welcome to the channel. I finally found some time to make this video for you guys because in the last video I said I was going to do a ownership review of the WRX since I was just about to hit 3,000 miles and I've passed 3 months of ownership. But the last week and a half, 2 weeks have been pretty hectic on my end, just in my personal life and in my career. I can go into all of that in more detail in another video that has nothing to do with the WRX. But I know a lot of you guys who are interested in buying this car want to know my thoughts and my takes on this performance sedan that in my mind is one heck of a value on the car market, especially if you're looking at buying a brand new car in 2024. Now in this video, I want to go over the good, the bad, the unexpected, and things that I want to change up with this WRX because it's not perfect and it's not major things. It's not like I'm going to be saying, oh, I hate the car, or that there's a lot that needs to be done to make the WRX a perfect performance car under $40,000. But there are some minor things that I've kind of gotten tired of over the last 3 months that definitely need to be addressed. So I want to start off being behind the wheel because that's what's most important. That is, to me, what has defined this ownership experience with this car. Now, I'm going to try not being redundant because in prior videos, I've talked about how I really don't like the braking for this WRX. I know the TR is going to address all of that with the Brembos. But also, I said when I first got the car that I really didn't like the vague steering. Well, I think some of you are going to be surprised. I've actually learned to like it. And the reason for that is because this suspension is so good in the corners. This car handles so well. It's exactly what I was looking for that I wasn't getting from my Volkswagen GTI. If you're hopping into this car for the first time, this platform for the first time, you're going to be genuinely impressed with how well it handles in the corners. As I said before, I just wish the braking was there to just give you more confidence. But as I've owned this car and over this period of time, I've gotten acclimated with it. I understand its limitations and understanding how deep I need to get into the braking so that I'm going to have the confidence to go into the corners very quickly and drive very spiritedly. And that's what's defined my ownership experience so far. If you've watched my last video, since this is the first time I've ever owned a manual car and have daily driven a manual car for 90 days or so, that everything is about getting acclimated with it. And it's been so enjoyable because it's a journey in a way. I'm getting to experience driving manual for the first time, but I'm also experiencing this car for the first time. And when I push it to its limits, I'm now seeing what it's capable of. And out of the box, I have to be honest, it's close to being as perfect for a car under $40,000 as you're ever going to get. Mechanically, I have no complaints at all. The engine has a nice character to it, nice growl. The exhaust sounds really good even for stock. Now, I do want to change that up. And I am thinking of going with AWE, Touring, or Track. But that's a side point. That's something I'll get into with the things I want to change up with this car. But one of the observations with the WRX, with this 2.4 liter Turbo 4, is that when I am on the highway, when I am on the back roads and I'm pushing this car, I can't help but feel like that Subaru really could have tuned this engine to its max. Because when you are accelerating, it's like, you know the engine can do a lot more, that we have not reached its full potential at all. And that to me is what makes this car very exciting and why I have been really enjoying my time. Because as I'm experiencing all of this for the first time, I'm realizing what Subaru did for this generation. Now, I do need to get my hands on a VA just to really compare and contrast and to be a bit more knowledgeable for you guys if you're looking at a used WRX or brand new one. But to me, I feel like Subaru, in a way, played it very conservative with the VB. And you feel that after about a week or two driving this car. What I have found so far is that everything with the WRX is effortless, and that when you are pushing the engine, it doesn't even feel like it's breaking a sweat, which is why I'm compelled to almost experiment with the idea of doing some performance modifications, just because I want to see what this thing can really do. I'm not even reaching its full potential. Well, some people have brought up the short gears for the WRX, more specifically first and second. I've kind of gotten used to it. I may have brought this up in one of my earlier videos on this channel, but I don't really have any problem with that because this isn't a high-powered muscle car, so it's not like I want to wring it out in any way, shape, or form, although I personally like third, fourth, and fifth. That's where I notice that the power band is at its best with this car. But I will say, and I probably would have disagreed with myself on this prior to buying the WRX, that 271 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque is really all you need. While some reviewers, journalists, and car owners will bring up the GR Corolla with the 300 horsepower, of course the turbo 3-cylinder, I think the 2.4 Turbo 4 is really all you need. And I've noticed that driving this car as a daily driver, on suburban roads, on the highway, this puts the power down pretty well. And if I wanted to go in the high horsepower direction, I can easily do that with the aftermarket support for the VB generation. But since I am behind the wheel, I might as well get into some of the things that I don't like about the driving experience for the VB generation. Now, as I said at the beginning of this video, it's nothing major, nothing that would make me want to sell this car anytime soon. But it all starts with the insulation. Not necessarily when you're on the highway, it's not the road noise, not the wind noise. It's the wheel wells. If you're not on clean pavement where it has rained and it's washed away all the dirt and the road debris, you hear everything. But when I have those rare encounters with a dirt road or gravel or anything else on the roadways, I at least know that with the plastic cladding that I'm not scratching the paint. So really, it's a give and take at that point with what the WRX has here in regards to that insulation, just the fact that it feels like a rally car. Now, my two other minor gripes, one of them I've already addressed before, is the turn signal stock. I still can't stand it. I don't know why Subaru didn't just give us the same turn signal stock that's in every other product in the product line, except for the BRZ, of course. I just still can't get used to it. I turned off the one-touch lane changer and I'm still not used to it at all. Where there's times where I'm trying to turn off the turn signal when I've already made my lane change and it's still going. That I still think I will never get used to owning this car. And sticking with the interior, I might as well bring up the infotainment system. And this might be my most controversial take yet with the WRX. But living with this user interface is a completely different experience than filming it and doing a product demonstration video for it. And I've always felt that at some point you're going to get acclimated with the head unit, that it will become second nature to use. Not quite, not necessarily. Maybe when you're using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, it's seamless. When you're using the dual zone climate control, the front and rear defrosters, and of course your 3-level heated seats, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. But when you're trying to change the radio station and you want to go to a station that you didn't put in your presets, your attention is going to be focused solely on the screen rather than the road ahead of you. And that to me really takes away from the user experience. I would love to see more physical buttons. I would love to see this user interface become a bit more easier to use, more user-friendly. But also, what is a bit surprising to me, because they were already doing this for 2023 models, why doesn't the WRX get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto? I was filming some other vehicles in the Subaru lineup. I'm like, the WRX is the only one that doesn't have wireless Apple CarPlay. And I would love to see that get integrated, because I don't think 2024 receives it either. But what you do get, though, is a USB-C outlet along with the USB-A, which I think is pretty cool. But outside of that, I don't really have any complaints necessarily. It does the job. It does what I'm looking for. Also, because it is so huge, it makes the car look futuristic in a way. But even though I'm not somebody who is an audiophile, I focus primarily on the radios, I'm more someone who listens to podcasts, just for other WRX owners, I would love to see Subaru kind of improve the Starlink user interface, especially for upcoming model years. But outside of that, I have no complaints at all from the on-road driving perspective. In fact, I have loved every single moment behind the wheel, and I just passed 3,000 miles, and it has been so enjoyable. I can't help but smile being behind the wheel of this car. But I also find myself taking the longest route possible to my destinations so that I can stay behind the wheel. And I've never done that before in any of the cars I've owned, or any of the cars that I've had for a weekend since I do feature and review cars. I actually will go on a road trip like today when I'm supposed to be at home working on a project, just because I want to experience this car again. I want to be behind the wheel. I have completely fallen in love with what the WRX has been giving me. Then for the things that I want to change up about my WRX, obviously, as you can tell, I do have the F1 light installed. I also want to get an exhaust, and as I alluded to earlier on, maybe something from AWE with the touring or track. I don't want anything too loud, too aggressive, or droney, and I think AWE has a good exhaust system for this platform. I mostly want an exhaust because I love the sound of the engine, and I want to have it be a bit more audible, especially during the spring and summer, just so that I can have more fun on some back roads or when I'm entering highways. But the reason why I have the hazard lights on is because recently I was on the highway and I was trying to lane change. Now, it wasn't the best visibility, it was raining, but I had someone in my rear quarter panel and they wouldn't back off. And I have a theory that the turn signals are blending in with the orange paint color. Now, that's not really a reason why I want to do this, but I want to go with the Diode Dynamics taillight to turn signal conversion kit. I think it really modernizes the rear fascia, but also I think it makes it look a lot more visible at night and when you are trying to lane change. So just from a safety aspect, that's what I'm probably going to do, because even with the F1 light, that has made a huge difference. People are not tailgating me anymore since I've installed that light. Then I'm also thinking of going with the Kogeki duckbill spoiler from Aeroflow Dynamics. Again, I think it would look really cool on this car. And really, to be honest, the rear fascia is begging for a duckbill spoiler. I know some people want to go with the STI wing, but I think the duckbill looks really good with this car. And then also from Diode Dynamics, I want to get the LED upgrade kit for the interior lighting and the license plate lighting, just because these incandescent lamps just do not do the job late at night. And I want to have a bit more visibility when I'm walking into my WRX. And then up front, and I'm not too sure if I want to do this yet because I'm still liking the gloss gray grille, but I'm thinking of going with the sport grille just for a nice color contrast, but I'm in no rush to do that. And then also from Subaru, which is an OEM part, I want to get the LED fog light bezels that go vertically next to the fog lights, which I think would look really cool with this car. And then finally, for the unexpected, and this was not something that was a motivational factor in me buying the WRX, is how much attention this car really gets. In fact, I get way more attention with the WRX, and it's positive attention, compared to my Volkswagen GTI. Now, even with the stock exhaust, I have people turning their heads when I'm passing by, which I'm a bit surprised. But when it comes to the looks of this car, when Subaru first unveiled it, a lot of the WRX purists and Subaru purists didn't like the plastic cladding for the front bumper or the wheel arches or the rear bumper. However, I've had people tell me that this car is really beautiful to look at, which again, I'm very surprised. I was at a stoplight about a month ago, and this girl rolls up on me, rolls down her window and says, "I love your car." I've never had that before. And like I said before, that was not a motivational factor for me. I was not buying this car for attention at all. I really liked what the WRX was providing at its price point. And I was well prepared for the negative feedback that people didn't like it. They didn't like the color, didn't like the plastic cladding, making fun of my purchase choice. But I've received the polar opposite of that. This car gets so much attention, and the fact that I can have a car that I truly enjoy, but also other people enjoy as well, has made my time with the WRX even more special. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this ownership review for my 2023 Subaru WRX. Let me know if it was helpful in the comment section below if you are looking at buying a VB generation. I still think it's the best bang for your buck, especially right now in 2024, even though prices have dropped a bit. If you are looking at buying a sports car under $40,000 that provides the right amount of performance, also has a manual transmission, I'd say look no further than the WRX. I'm not saying that because I'm being biased. There's plenty of other nice cars out there in this price range, like the Honda Civic Si, like the GR Corolla, like the Volkswagen GTI. But I think the WRX, at least for me, is one of the best cars out there right now on the market today. So guys, once again, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time.